So we're back in our typecasting section, and we are now going to attempt to join up integers and strings, and we are probably going to need typecasting, but let's scroll down and take a look at the entire section. So we've got a nice new blank box over here, and we can set I equals to 10, and then we can set S for a string to the string of hello world. And we're going to try to do something like get a result. So result is equal to I plus S, which is the joining or the concatenation of the addition of an integer and a string. And let's see what comes out of this. So we'll try to print the result at the end of it. And we'll also attempt to print the type of the result at the end, and let's see what happens. And the first thing that we're going to get is an error message. We're going to get a type error, unsupported operand types. For plus, we can't do an integer and a string, so this is a type error. We're not allowed to combine integers and strings. We have to do some type of typecasting. Let's try, and our two options are to try and convert the string into an integer and then do a normal addition, or we could try to convert the integer into a string and do a string concatenation. Let's try and convert the string to an integer by using the integer method in Python. And if we hover over this integer method in Python, we see that it converts a number or string to an integer, or return 0 if no arguments are given. When we try to run this, we get an error message, but the error message is now changed. We get a value error, invalid literal for int with base 10 hello world. So this wouldn't work. If our string just happened to be a number, so like 100, this would work, because this 100 could then be converted into an integer by the Python interpreter. But Python doesn't recognize what we might call as pure strings, or a string that actually contains characters in it, as a string, as opposed to a string that contains a series of characters which are actually numbers. So hello world is not allowable, whereas 100 was allowable. So this throws us a type error. So now let's try and convert the integer into a string and see what happens. And we can use the str keyword in Python, and if we hover over the str keyword, it says create a new string object from the given object. So let's have a look. Hopefully we're going to get a string that comes back, and we're going to print the result in the same way. We should get 10 hello world if they were to be able to be concatenated, because when we join up two strings, we call that concatenation. And we should get a result type of string, because we would have joined up a string plus a string. So let's see if that happens, and we do. We get 10 hello world, and we get a class of string. So we can convert strings to integers. We can convert integers to strings. But when we do convert into strings to integers, the only way that we're allowed to do that is if what's inside the actual string could be interpreted as an integer value. So that's combining integers and strings.